Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2003 remake, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So this is an hour, 40-something minutes long. The original is hour 20-something, so 20 minutes are added, right, for stuff. And what's interesting about this is that it's based on the original script. So there's a new screenplay writer who based this film on the original script, new director to the franchise as well. And so you have Jessica Biel starring, you have Mike Vogel starring, you have a bunch of other people starring. This I've seen the most out of all 9 Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. Um, Super attractive cast. So of course I'm going to be the stereotypical, you know, looks are more important than substance type of person and go to this. This is very rare where you watch a project specifically because the cast is just super attractive, um, and you just are just shallow because of that. So because this has an attractive cast, I've watched this the most, and what's interesting about this is that yes, I've seen it because of an attractive cast, but it has a good story. And it's rare within a remake because I have critiqued remakes numerous times where if you're making a remake, why aren't you using the same character names? Why aren't you using the same plot points, etc.? Sometimes, very rarely, when you do a remake and you change a lot of stuff or you use the basic premise as stuff, it works. Rarely. This is a good example of it because the main character in the first film, which takes place August 18th, 1973, which is the same date that this takes place, August 18th, 1973, and it says specifically on the bottom of the screen. Jessica Biel plays the main female character of Erin in this, but Sally is the main female character in the first film. It's not the same type of premise, right? Sally and Franklin are brother and sister in the first, and then it's used as reference points to, throughout the other 4, kind of a thing. This, you have Erin, and you think Morgan is her brother, but it's not really discussed that Morgan's her brother. Her boyfriend, whose name I don't remember, and then you have Mike Vogel's character, and then a girl that they just met the day before. So it's them in this group who then pick up a hitchhiker, who then winds up shooting herself. So there's a whole plot point around that in regards to the there. So the basic premise is there. These 20-somethings are in, Texas. They're going to a Leonard Skinner concert. That's why they're in this particular film. Going, pick up a hitchhiker, go to a gas station run by this cannibalistic family. All hell breaks loose. But what's interesting about this is that it brings more of this family element to it for this particular remake. This, in the second film, Leatherface was referenced as Bubba Sawyer, that the Sawyers, that was the family name. And this, it's the Hewitt family. He's referenced as Thomas Brown Hewitt in this. So it's interesting why there's a name change. It's interesting then that Erin is the main female character compared to Sally, who's the main female character. Normally, I would have problems with that. If you're going to do a remake, why are you changing the names of the characters? But this, as its own standalone film, works very well. We get a beginning, we get a middle, we get an end. We get first, second, third act. Everything is slow burned to how it's supposed to be. This Leatherface character is very captivating as well because he's not screaming and moaning and doing all stupid noises as compared to past Leatherfaces, which I had problems with. This one's more sinister. This one's more villainy. We get a small, short quip of a backstory that he has a skin disorder, and that's why he was made fun of in school, and that's why he started to do this, and that's why the family has been championing this cannibalism, etc. So, that's why he wears masks. And the part that still creeps me out to this day is when he takes the face of Erin's boyfriend and puts it on his face, and it's a wild moment of her realizing. Wild. It's very psychological in regards to this film as well. So yes, you have the gore factor. Yes, you have the jump scare factor. Yes, you have the why is this family doing this factor. But it's still a psychological thriller film. A lot of the added stuff to it is a lot of family stuff to it. You have, a kid running throughout this, trying to help, the victims, if you will, who is a Hewitt, who's being punished. So his retaliation of being punished is to help them try to escape. I also love the final showdown at the meat factory, at the butcher factory, whatever, the meat plant, whatever you want to call it, where Jessica's character has the giant butcher. It's not a knife. What is that? Cleaver? When she has the cleaver, and she starts hacking away at Leatherface's arm, and his arm comes off, and it's still attached to the chainsaw, and he picks up his chainsaw with the arm dangling with the other arm, and it's a wild moment because you're like, okay, well, if they make a sequel, how the hell does this work? How is there going to be a one-armed Leatherface? Is he going to get a mechanical arm kind of a thing, like Vilmer's character, Matthew McConaughey's character in the fourth film? Like, granted, he had a leg with stuff going on, but same, like, what could happen next? There was never a sequel to this particular film. There was a prequel to this particular film, which we're going to watch next. But I've seen this the most because the cast is gorgeous, but also because the story works very well. It doesn't linger on questions. Like, it's very straight to the point. This family does this. The mom character says at one point to the kids, she's like, in these parts, we learn to keep to ourselves, or something like that, or best mind our business, or whatever that Texas twang is in the accent. And she says it worked so well. It works so well. I'm very happy with how this came out. I'm still happy with how this came out. I was 13 when this came out. I was in middle school when this came out. So it was a very formative year of life developments, if you will. Then translating into teenage years, more formative years of life developments, questioning likes, dislikes, stuff like that. I've seen this the most out of all of them. And I understand why. It's a good story. It's a great cast. It's captivating. It's a psychological thriller film with a good Leatherface villain who's actually the villain. So I enjoy it. 2003, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.